Before we move on to some of Pyká's other features, there are a few more things to cover when it comes to projects. There are two ways to work with a Pyká project: opening projects and watching projects. Pyká projects are like books at a library. Opening a project is like checking out a book. Watching a project is like reading a book over your friend's shoulder. When you open a project, you're taking ownership of that project on your computer. This means you can make changes to the project. You can commit new versions. When you watch a project, the whole project is on your computer, but you don't have permission to make changes. You're simply having changes arrive at your computer after they've been processed into the library. This is important because sometimes there are people who are in charge of a project, but they're not going to make edits to that project, such as project managers. Those types of people will probably want to watch a project rather than open it. At the same time, there are other people who are content creators. They're the ones who will probably need to open a project to make changes to it, rather than watch it passively. Opening a project is easy. Let's select a project in our library's visualizer. From here we can either double-click this project or click the Open button. If this project isn't being used by another user, it should download and open immediately. Once Pyká has opened a project, the first thing it wants to know is whether or not you want to save the main branch. Remember, the main branch is the primary branch that Pyká references when dealing with your project. Let's click Save and save our main branch to the desktop. Watching a project is also easy. Let's select a project in our library's visualizer. Now let's click the Watch button. This downloads the project regardless of whether or not it's being edited by another user. Once it's done, it will ask you whether you want to save the main branch or not. Let's click Save and save our main branch to the desktop. In Pyká, editing a project's information is easy. Select a project either in the sidebar or the visualizer, and then click the Edit button. The Edit Project panel should look familiar because it's the same kind of information we used to create our projects. It looks like the Categories section is a bit lacking. Let's add some more categories and upload our changes. It should be noted that you do not need to have a project open to edit its project's info. All changes are sent to the managing user to process them into the library. What if we want to bulk edit our projects? Let's start by selecting multiple projects that have something in common. Now let's click the Edit button. The Edit Multiple Items panel allows us to edit all of the information our selection has in common. Since we've selected projects, it lets us edit the information fields pertaining to projects. It looks like these projects are missing a campaign. Let's add one, but be careful. Any changes we make will be applied to all of the projects. Now let's click Upload Changes to send these changes to our managing user to process. Since we have nothing further to do with this project, how about we send it to one of our users to work on? Sending projects is simple. Pyká requires that you have control over a project before you can send it. To do this, let's open a project. Click the Send button to bring up the Send Project panel. Now let's select a user to send our project to. If you want to watch the project after you've sent it, click Send and Watch. Or, if you want to close the project after it's been sent, click Send and Close. In this case, let's click Send and Watch so we can watch the progress of this project. Let's go look at the project we sent in our Watched Projects section. It looks like there's been a change to this project. Pyká wants to know if you want to update your branch folder to the newest version. Let's click OK and open our branch folder to see what has changed. It looks like Elise has added a folder full of document files to the Pyká project. Sometimes, you might want to send a project to a user who doesn't have access to your Pyká library. This could include people who work off-site. In situations like this, Pyká can export a Pyká project file. A Pyká project file contains all of the branches, versions, assets, and information about your project. To export a Pyká project file, select your project in the sidebar or visualizer and click the Export button. Then name your project file and save. Pyká will gather all of the data related to this project and save it. To import a Pyká project that already exists, click the Import button. Select your project file, then click Import and Overwrite. But be careful. If you have made changes to this project since it was exported, those changes will be overwritten by importing the Pyká project file. Finally, once we are done with a project and wish to close it, select the project and click the Close button. If the project is a watched project, it will disappear immediately. But if the project is an open project, Pyká will want to know if we want to commit any final changes to the branches before closing. If we do, click Yes. If we don't, click No. Once Pyká is finished, the project will disappear and changes will be processed into the library by the managing user, and the project will become available again.